Alright guys, welcome back to the Fijon FJ9 build series for this awesome 1/10 scale drift car. Sorry it's been a little bit long in the pipeline, but I've been waiting for some of the parts that came in. You might have seen this before. This is the Surplus Hobby Rocket V3 1/10 scale 540 brushless motor, and the good thing about it is you can adjust the timing on this guy, and it is also censored or sensorless. You can run it either way, so that's pretty cool. That obviously is going to go in the front of this guy, and it does look really sweet when everything's all installed. And I think I've showed you this before in another video, everything is really tightly fit, but it does fit really nicely. Now I'm not too sure, I think I showed this particular ESC, or maybe it's an upcoming video, but I'm going to put this ESC in one of my other cars, the 1/8 scale DHK Maximus, because I did originally get this for this particular car, but 150 amp is way overkill for this guy, you know, nowhere near that. So I'll leave the link in the description anyway if you want to go check this out. So I'm going to put this in the Maximus. I'll probably an upcoming video, so if you want to go check that out, keep your little eyes peeled. But I'm not going to use that ESC. What I do have is another Toro ESC, but this time it's 120 amp ESC, and it's really meant for 1/10 scale cars. Few specs here. It's a 120 amp ESC, brushless, censored and sensorless, which is why I got it. So here are the specs, and this is why I got it, because it is brushless, sensor and sensorless, so you can have either of. It's mainly for 1/10 scale on and off-road cars or 1/8 scale crawlers. It does also go up to 3S LiPo. With a drift car it's probably overkill, so 2S I think's more than enough here, or 4 to 9S cell on a nickel metal hydride, but we don't want to know about that. The back, which is 6 volt at 3 amp, it's very small, only 45 grams, doesn't really make a difference, but it also does have a fan on this guy. So let's quickly pop this out. This one is actually from RC Moment. I've had a few things from there, and they do also stock a lot of cool stuff, so I'll leave the link in here as well. But here is the unit itself. Really nicely, well, they feel really nice. It is all aluminium or metal, maybe a mixture of the two, but it is really nice, and I do like the color, kind of matches the car there. So that is that. We also get some nice thick gauge wire here. It feels like 12 gauge. Yep, there it is. Really nice silicone on the outside there. A few screws there, and that is because you install the fan on top, which simply just sits on like that. No biggie. Oh, like that. You have a little fan port there, so that sits on like that. Now you also need to install this, or solder that on when you're doing the main connections. I'll show you that when that's all installed. And you also get obviously a cable that you connect to the receiver and the ESC. It does also come with a pretty in-depth instruction manual. Gives you a list of features, preparation, all that kind of stuff, obviously to calibrate it, all the info there. And the good thing about it, obviously, it is programmable, and you have to use these particular option parts. They don't come with a kit, but you can get to these program box, the program box, Wi-Fi module, Bluetooth module, and the Skylink. So I have one of these coming soon, so I can program it with that. But yeah, there we go. And also you do get a sweet set of stickers, but that's that. So if you want to go check that out, link is in the description. Like I said, that's from RC Moment, so pretty sweet. Now, what else we're using for electronics? Just a basic, there you go there, Fly Sky receiver. Nothing to that. That's not that exciting. Now these boxes here, now I was thinking what servo to get, and I was originally going to use this guy here, but might be a bit overkill, and I think I wanted something a little bit more torque. This is a 6 kilo JX servo. The model number there is a BLS HV7106 metal geared servo. Apparently this is waterproof, but this guy is a brushless servo. Super quick. At 7.4 volt we got 0.036 seconds, and that's at 6.2 kilo torque. That's pretty impressive, but I think I'll use that for a future project. And then also another servo, this guy here. And this looked fairly new. Power HD. This guy here is mainly for crawlers. It didn't have that quick of a response time, so I was thinking, oh, maybe there is something else. So this guy here is from memory. Let's have a look at the specs. Here we go there. So at 4.8 volt, it has 21 kilos of torque, which is impressive at 0.13. So that's pretty quick for that. But at 6 volts, which I would run it at, will be 0.11 of a second and 25 kilos of torque. So this guy is not only super strong, it's quick, fantastic price. I'll leave the link in the description for this one as well. But it is waterproof, so that'd be perfect for crawlers. So I thought, you know what, I'll save this for some other project in the near future, or a particular crawler that I might have coming up in a future build. So that one I'll move to the side. So third time lucky, another JX servo. This time, this one is 8 kilo, not brushless, but still super, super quick, and actually quicker than the other one. As you can see here, high voltage JX servo CLS HV7308 metal gear, and it at 7.4 volts, it's 0.045 of a second, and that's at 7.5 kilos of torque. Now that is super quick. I'm not going to be running it at 7 volts, but I will be running it at 6 volts, and even at 6 volts, it is 0.06 of a second. So, mate, that is super quick, and that is at 6.1 kilos. So the store torque of 6.1 kilo at 6 volts. So that's what the that's what the Beck is pumping out. So that is 6.1 kilos at 6 volts. So that's pretty impressive. Like I said, it's not brushless like the other one. It is a coreless motor, but yeah, that is super quick and only weighs 73 grams. But from looking at these, they look identical from when you're just looking at them like that. But this one's brushless, this one's a coreless, but I'll use this one later on. I'll use this for an upcoming crawler video or another car, and I'll use this one for this particular car because it is super, super quick reaction times, or you know what I mean, operating speed, super quick. All these guys are from Bangle, these three, so I'll link it in the description for that if you want to go check them out. But yeah, I think next step is to actually start installing this. Obviously the ESC, I need to solder up the connections. I'm just going to directly solder it to the motor with the included cables, so I'm not going to bore you with that. And yeah, and then I guess we can start hooking up the servo. So let's just have a quick look inside this box before we install it. There we go. As you can see, it's really nicely machined. And like I said, like this ESC, everything is black, and this chrome edge, or the aluminium edge here. So it looks really, really nice. Feels really, really quality in the hand. Now, what else? We've got a nice pack of basic servo horns, all your stuff you need to get everything up and running. Got a massive ass one there. We won't be needing that. What I'm going to do is replace it with this nice aluminium one, and I'm pretty sure it's a 25 tooth as well, which it is. Happy days. So everything looks really cool, and this guy just installs just like that. I've already set up in the previous video all the connections for the servo and the steering mechanism, so that is all good to go. All we need to do actually is install that like that, nothing to it, and that goes on the end there. So I'll get that all set up, and then we can move on to the ESC. And I won't be using this one, it just hits this carbon fiber strut, and it's probably a little bit too long, so I'll just have to replace that with a basic plastic one. Okay, there we go, ladies and gentlemen, all soldered up, and I like to put a little bit of heat shrink there. That soot is just from the fire, so very nice. I could have soldered this on the bottom of those pads, but I didn't. It is what it is, and I guess this can just go on the side just like that. But they're really nice and strong. Yeah, I just think it looks really nice and neat, and there's never issue of anything touching down there. I've also hooked up the servo. I used a plastic servo horn, and I just rounded it off so it looks nice and neat. But there we go. Kind of put like a little spacer on there to kind of bring it further in so it doesn't have too much of an angle for the actual turnbuckle there. But everything looks good. Next up is soldering the motor up. I'm not going to put any kind of connections on it. It's just going to be hardwired. So I'll put this in there exactly where I want it to, and then solder these guys directly to it. Obviously not the red and black, but the yellow, orange and blue. I've already pre-tinned up here, so we can just smack these bad boys on. Okay guys, now I've got everything hooked up Got my motor in here. Just wanted to check it all works, which it does. It's got to put the fan on the ESC. But one thing I noticed that there's no room, or it's very tight once everything's buttoned up with this motor to get that actual sensor wire in there. So I've left it out just for the meantime. It still runs fine. I might find a way to route it in later, but that's all in there. One question I had, I've got these high voltage servos, and I know they, can run off the general BEC, or a battery eliminator circuit, I believe it's called, from a decent hobby grade ESC, which this guy has. But the funny thing is, when I plug this in, I'll show you what I mean, it has this weird twitch. So happened with the other servo I have from JX as well. So it's this particular one here, this brushless model. So I'm not too sure if it's something to do with the JX range, but if I turn everything on, get the the transmitter all plugged in, get a battery onto this guy, it yep, I know, run out of heat shrink. I've got some more later. I just want to hook it all up, make sure everything works. But here we go. So if I turn this guy on, where is the button? Just here, like that. And if I plug my servo in, and polarity is all correct, and it really does make a difference with these. I've tried it with something else, but there we go. So if I turn that on, it's all connected. It's got power, and that's it. Can't do anything else. With this, that's all it does. And if I do it again, I can't really move it anywhere else. I'm not too sure what's going on. So if any of you guys know what it is, please let me know. But like I said, everything else works. We have power, so that's cool. Everything seems to be working nicely, and it runs fairly smoothly as well. Bring it up closer so you can have a look. There we go there, that wheel's a little bit wobbly. But yeah, so... well, there we go there. I didn't tighten that pinion and it just popped off, but no biggie. So what I need to do is I need to change this particular servo out until I figure out what's going on. If any of you guys can let me know, that'll be really helpful as well, because I've tried to look online and I couldn't really see anything else. I've heard people say it might be getting under voltage, but it's a 6 volt BEC, and this guy can run up to 6 volt and 7.4 volts. I'm not too sure. I tried it with this other servo here that I have, the crawler servo, and that works no problem. So I guess until I figure that out, I'm going to use this servo in there and see how that goes. So if any of you guys know what the issue is here, can you please let me know and leave it down in the comment section. So in the meantime, like I said, I'll put this guy in there and see how that runs. Fix his pinion. I'll just actually tighten it. There's no grub screw. It was just pretty much hand tied in there just to make sure everything was working. So I'll get that guy hooked up and put this guy in there, and I'll see you in a bit. Common sense prevails. Good thing about this motor, it has dual ports for the sensors. So it's got one at the back plate here and also one up top just there. So perfect for what I need it for. So I've reattached that there. I've fed it through one of these, the first firewall, made these wires come over and underneath the dash. And bear in mind, you can switch this dash either way. I've just got it in there as it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to double side all this electronic goodness down there just like that. Obviously receiver. There is a new servo, and that works really well. Not as quick as the other one, but it's still fairly good, and it's got like 20 kilos of torque, so more than enough for this. But when I figure out the other issues with the other JX servos, I'll take this one out and put it back in. Everything is set up, and I've double-sided taped everything down so it sits in there fairly neatly. I think it looks pretty good. Everything is double-sided down. Receiver, the ESC, and it's got a quite easy location there. Well, the body's off, I guess, for the power switch, but I want these cables to be fairly neat, so I might just put one small cable tied around there, but everything seems to be fitting well. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this. One thing I noticed, that this kind of hard case LiPo doesn't really slide in here at all, so I think a smaller LiPo will do, or I guess you could fit it up here somehow. But for just to get everything going. Let's turn it on. I have the fan on here as well, so it's fairly loud, but it does keep a good job keeping it cool. So there we go there. So even though that's a crawler motor servo, it's still fairly quick. We'll put this up so you can see. So, pretty cool. In a future video, currently from the factory, the Toro TS120 amp competition ESC is only set for forward and brake, no reverse. So I'm waiting on a program card, and when I do, I will do another video just on this ESC, show you just quickly how to program it, because there are a lot of different settings. So I'm just waiting for that to come in, but if you want to go check that out, like I said, that's from RC Moment. The link is in the description, go check it out. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. So far so good. I want to see if I have some different lipos that fit in here, so I don't have to kind of cable tie something on top. I'm pretty sure I have some soft case packs or smaller milliamp hour that will fit in here nicely. But so far so good. Installation of the parts look very nice. Everything is really tight in there. So yeah, any questions, leave them down below. All the links for the 3 servos and this ESC and all that kind of stuff is in the description. So thanks guys, catch you around. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.